LSU and South Carolina, both teams coming off of a bye week in this one. Kickoff just after 6:45 in Tiger Stadium tomorrow night. And I think as I was just contemplating this game, actually driving into work today, kind of thinking about angles to explore on the show, it kind of dawned on me that there are two discussions to have here. There's this game Saturday, and then there's the season as a whole, right? And this game, as I talked about yesterday, is massively important to LSU's season. If you lose to South Carolina, your dreams are cooked. Not literally, but what other conclusion can you draw? If you can't beat South Carolina at home, you're not going to Tuscaloosa and winning, and going to Norman and winning, and beating Texas A&M in Tiger Stadium, and going to Nashville and winning. Like, you're not going to run the table if you can't beat South Carolina at home. So for all intents and purposes, like, you're playing for your season in this game. It's massively impactful. But there's another way to frame this conversation. It's like, okay, what do you need to do to get better this season and accomplish your goals? And that a lot of it revolves around the offense. And then there's what do you need to do to beat South Carolina and just make sure that happens. And my confidence level in LSU discovering this new gear on offense, discovering how to be a much more functional running team, not dominant, but much more functional. Like, my confidence they're going to do that moving forward is really, really low. It just is. If they had shown the ability throughout a season to get better running the ball the last couple of years, I might lean on that. They have not. This is who they've been for 3 years now. So my confidence level that that's going to take off is just not real high. My confidence level that LSU is going to play well on defense and do enough to beat South Carolina in this one game that is not a forecast for the season is very high. Here's why. South Carolina's offense stinks. Stinks. And this plays right into LSU's hands. Clemson's offense stinks. LSU put them in a blender. Florida's offense stinks. LSU put them in a blender. South Carolina's offense stinks. And LSU's going to put them in a blender. This defense in that stadium is a hard assignment for anyone. For South Carolina and what they have done thus far in September, almost impossible. I was looking at the stat sheet this morning, and I'm looking at what South Carolina has done this year. It's pedestrian stuff. They ran it 37 times for $119 against Virginia Tech. That's pedestrian stuff against a bad Virginia Tech team. They threw it for 209 in that game. Completed 12 passes. Not great. You look at the game against South Carolina State, they didn't have any offensive points until late in the first half against an FCS team. Against Vanderbilt, I know there's a caveat there. Absolutely. Sellers going out is a big deal. But they ran the ball for 86 yards in that game. 29 carries for 86 yards on Vanderbilt. You think that's bad on the ground? How about the next week against Missouri on the road? Sellers played in that game. They ran it 22 times. You want to guess how many yards they ran for in that game? There's sacks involved. -9. I'm less concerned with the -9 because there are sacks involved in that. And Missouri got after Lenor Sellers and had a big red zone sack and what. But their long on 22 carries on the ground against Missouri was 7. 7 yards was their long in that game. Yeah, they ran it for 178 yards against Kentucky, who's atrocious. Took them 48 carries to do that, and they only threw it for 163 in that game. How many did they throw for against South Carolina State, a MEAC school? How many yards did they throw for? 128 yards. If this were one game here or there, I would call it a one-off. It's every week. There is one number on this stat sheet that is even remotely impressive. And it's the fact that they ran for 302 yards. That they threw for 302 yards against Missouri. That's the only number that's impressive. And they had some big plays in that game. And we talked about big plays early in the week. That is South Carolina's only chance. Because on a play-in and play-out basis in this game, LSU's defense is going to beat South Carolina's offense. South Carolina's offense has 3 offensive linemen that are not in good shape. They're probably not going to play in this game. They're looking for any running back to give them anything. They can't replace Rocket Sanders, and they haven't gotten that. They're the worst running offense in the SEC. And, oh, by the way, LSU is in that conference, and they're worse than LSU at running the ball. They've got a quarterback who is kind of limited in what he can operate. Like, he's not limited physically. He is a freak. He's really exciting to watch, quite honestly. But they kind of roll him out a little bit and get the ball on the perimeter. They will hit some big shots here or there, but he's not running enough. They're getting sacked a bunch. There's just not a lot to like about this South Carolina offense across the board. They're not good on the offensive front. They don't have playmakers at running back. They don't have a lot of playmakers at wide receiver. Nick Harbor's the one guy, and he's not been as productive as you thought he would probably be when he got to Columbia. And this is an LSU defense that is damn good. The vibes in this town have not been great for 2 weeks, grant you that. You go to Ole Miss, lose. Running game doesn't look very good. Quarterback kind of looks hurt. You give up 80 plays, and Ole Miss kind of beats you up. Like, that's a tough ego blow. So the vibes have not been great. The defense is still awesome. We don't talk about it. Everyone wants to talk about the running game, want to talk about the offense, want to talk about the quarterback, want to talk about all that kind of stuff. And that's relevant conversation. We're not shying away from that. And that is a conversation for the entirety of the season. But if you're just talking about Saturday night, if you're just talking about this game with South Carolina, this matchup is great for LSU. That stadium's going to be loud. That team's going to be fired up. They're going to be fresh. And as we talked about earlier in the week, if LSU's defensive backs plaster to those receivers, especially on extended plays, and LSU doesn't get over-aggressive on their pass rush to create running lanes for Sellers, South Carolina is not play in and play out going to consistently win against that defense. They're just not. The only defense they have consistently won against is Kentucky, and Kentucky's program is in freefall. So you want to talk to me about making the playoff? You want to talk to me about competing for the Southeastern Conference? You want to talk to me about going to Tuscaloosa and winning or going to Norman and winning? We can have that conversation, and my confidence level is not super high on that. That's part of the vibes not being great in Baton Rouge right now. You want to talk to me about Saturday night? My confidence, real high. Because that defense has done nothing through 5 weeks of this season to suggest they're not going to come out and play a great football game on Saturday night. You should win consistently at the point of attack, shutting down South Carolina's putrid running game. That's going to put South Carolina in a lot of third and longs. And Lenor Sellers has been sacked a lot this year and has not been efficient throwing the ball in the short and intermediate passing game. He's just better with the deep shots. And they've hit some of those. You look at their long passing plays, 64 against Virginia Tech, 49 against Missouri, 59 against Kentucky. They've hit some plays down the field. They can do that. I don't think they've played a secondary that's as good as LSU's yet. In the bye week, I gave you the Pro Football Focus grades about LSU's corners, about their safeties, about the coverage skills. Those grades are really, really, really good. And they've played, LSU has, a quarterback in Cade Klubnik that's kind of similar in style to a degree to Sellers. It's not the same. I'm not saying they're clones, but they're good athletes. They can extend plays. They want to use their feet a little bit. They're veterans. And they've got enough arm strength to hurt you. And Klubnik couldn't find anywhere to go on his home field, and I don't think Lenor Sellers is going to find anywhere to go on Saturday night. So my pick for this game is going to come at the end of the show. It's becoming pretty evident where we feel on that, and I got to talk about LSU's offense as we move forward. But if we're just sitting here on this Friday talking about LSU and South Carolina, this matchup is great because it is hard for me. Save some bad turnovers by the LSU offense or big plays on broken plays by Lenor Sellers and the South Carolina offense. Save that. It is hard for me to get South Carolina to 20 points. It just is. Now, I'm not here to tell you I think LSU is going to score 40, and we're going to talk about the LSU offense as we move forward. But as I told you as I was driving today, like, what do we want to talk about this game? We're just talking this game. I like it. LSU's got big problems on offense right now. But you look at that injury report, Caden Durham's on it, Paul Mabenga's on it. Aaron Anderson's on it. Those are offensive guys. LSU's defense, save Gabe Relaford, and you got a probable on Ahmad Bro. You're healthy, you're rested, and more importantly, you're really good. And LSU is going to come out, I think, tomorrow and play great defense for 4 quarters, and they are going to make life really, really difficult on Lenor Sellers and this South Carolina offense that really has found no traction all year long, save a couple big plays in the passing game against Missouri and running the ball decently well against Kentucky, and that ain't Kentucky in that stadium down the street. So I like LSU in the game coming up on Saturday. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.